Welcome back, everybody. Today I thought I'd talk a little bit about anxiety and mental health, so make sure that you've got your tea and your blanket and settle in. I've restarted filming this segment so many times already, and I think because this is such a personal thing for me, and even though I very openly speak about it on my streams, knowing how to start a video about it is proving kind of hard. Uh, I want to be able to be there for you in the right way. And I want to let you know that you're not alone. I have been dealing with anxiety since I was a teenager, so a fair while now, but only recently have I started opening up about it to everybody. It's something that I kept kind of inside. It's something that I dealt with internally, and I didn't open up about it to my friends or even my family. I mean, a few of my family members knew, but they didn't know, I guess, the extent of what I went through or didn't understand it. And I have found ways recently to describe it to people who don't understand it. So I will be going through that in this video today with you guys, as well as my coping mechanisms and my triggers as well, because that's a huge thing with different anxieties triggered by different things. So I'll let you know exactly what I go through, and I hope that helps you in some way. Maybe you can take something away from it, or maybe it's just the fact that you'll know that you're not alone and you're not crazy and you're not abnormal or anything like that, because I know that's such a huge thing with anxieties, that you feel that everyone around you is coping with everything in their life fine, and then there's something in your life that you're not coping with, and you wonder why, and you wonder what's wrong with you, and you wonder why you're different. And I'm here to tell you that you're not, and it's normal. And there's so many people that go through this on a daily basis. And I'm one of them. And, I wanna be open. I wanna be open about that with you. So, I figure, what's the point of having such an amazing community and hiding everything from you guys? I want to be open. I want to show you what I go through. So if you're going through something similar, then you know you're not alone. So to start off with, I'll talk a little bit about the difference between nerves and anxiety, because as someone with anxiety, you're always going to come across people who tell you everyone gets nervous, you'll get past it, it'll be okay. But there's such a huge difference between nerves and anxiety. When you're nervous, you might feel a little bit sick in your stomach, you might not be able to eat, you might feel a little bit shaky. But when you're anxious, it is completely different, and you get intrusive thoughts. It can last for weeks. Every single day you wake up with this darkness in you, or this pit of despair almost in your stomach, and you just feel so like tense and that you can't break free of this. The best way that I can describe it to people who don't experience this is using popular culture. So, for my example, I like to use Stranger Things, specifically Stranger Things 4, because I watched that series just before I had a really bad bout of anxiety, and I was able to relate a lot of it back to that. You can choose any analogy that you want, but this really helps people understand what anxiety looks and feels like. So, in Stranger Things, they go into the upside down, and everything in their normal lives that is usually there, their houses, certain objects, they're still there, they're still in the upside down, but instead of looking normal, in reality they look abnormal, they look scary, they look dark, they look old and broken, and they're floating around, and everything just looks warped in a way. And it's it's a good analogy because those things are familiar to you. You can see them and recognize them as something familiar, but all of a sudden they're terrifying, they're scary, and they're not how you would usually perceive reality. You're stuck in this upside down, and the main villain of the show, Vecna, that can be related to your anxiety or even depression, or a lot of other mental health issues. You can feel that presence there. Sometimes he's far away, and sometimes he's breathing right down your neck. And it comes and goes in waves. And, a lot of the time when you're experiencing anxiety, you can hide from that in that upside down world, but you're still in the upside down. And you still have those intrusive thoughts, and you still have those moments of pure fear that you're not going to be able to get out. And I guess for me, what I had to do was find ways to escape that and to reach that light, like how Max does in Stranger Things 4. She sees that light and she starts running. And it is exhausting because you are running away from that anxiety, literally running in your mind mentally, because you have all these thoughts spinning around like a tornado, and everything just seems so overwhelming and so scary. So it's a workout. It's honestly a mental workout to run away from anxiety. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, the difference between nerves and anxiety. So that's a really good analogy to give to people if they don't quite understand, or if they're telling you that it's just nerves and you'll get over it. It's not. It's terrifying and it's really really hard to escape. Obviously, anxiety is brought on by many things, and I'll talk to you a little bit about my personal triggers. It's different for everybody that deals with anxiety, but for me, it's a lot of loss of control. So, if I feel like I'm not in control of a situation, then that's when my head starts spinning and I get these tornado of thoughts, and it feels very overwhelming in my head when I can't foresee the future and I can't control that future. So it's a little bit of the fear of the unknown, which I think is probably the most common basic, the basic view of anxiety, the fear of the unknown. But for me, yeah, it's a lot of lack of control. If I can't control a situation, then I get really anxious. I was dealing with this a lot about a month or so ago, when I had around about 2 weeks where every single day I was so anxious I could hardly eat and I could hardly get out of bed and hardly function as a human being. And it was absolutely awful because there was all these thoughts happening in my head. I mean, I'm traveling across the world for the first time in my life. I've never left Australia. I'm heading there and straight away doing a convention, which I've also never done. I've never done a convention in my life, even in my hometown. I've done tiny little markets, but this is the first really big thing that I've done for my art. And yeah, that's pretty terrifying, and it absolutely spun me into this cycle of fear and fear of the unknown and fear that I'm not going to be able to control my environment when I'm there. I have lived out of home since I was maybe like 18, 19. I've always been in control of my environment, and now all of a sudden I'm being thrown out of that and I'm being thrown into a different country. I mean, it's me throwing me. Like, I wouldn't go if I didn't choose to go. Like that's the main thing that you have to kind of bring yourself back to when you are dealing with that, is that if it's something you're excited about as well as being anxious about, the anxiety doesn't necessarily mean that you're less excited about it. This is something I've wanted to do for a really, really long time. But yeah, it's absolutely scary, and that can be a super confusing thought because you've been doing something, or you are about to do something that makes you really excited, and you're so anxious about it going wrong and that something's going to happen, and you can't tell what's going to happen, you can't tell what's going to happen in the future. It's scary and I know that it's scary. So it's something that you have to, I guess, I wouldn't say overcome, because overcoming anxiety is really freaking hard. You can use coping mechanisms, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but you have to remind yourself of why you're excited. So for me, I was making lists of everything that I'm excited for. I'm excited to see snow for the first time because I've never seen snow before, and I get to experience that. I get to experience Christmas for the first time in the snow, because in Australia, Christmas is freaking hot. Like, it's horrible. I hate it. I've always hated it. I've always liked the romanticized version of Christmas. And you can even see right now, like, the excitement that I'm physically getting from talking about this. Even for a few minutes, I'm getting so freaking excited about traveling to America for the first time. But in those anxious moments, the excitement is still there. It just seems far away, or it seems like it's in a part of your brain. So, going back to the whole Stranger Things analogy, the excitement would be what you feel when you're not in the upside down. And when you flip, it's still there, it just looks different. Your reality is different, it's completely warped. So, when you feel these things, when you feel those anxieties, it doesn't mean that you're not excited. You are still excited. You just have to remind yourself of that. So I'll talk a little bit about what helped me, and I used a few different methods. You can try any of these. They may not work for you, but maybe at least one of those could help in some way. I think the first thing to do, because it can be really, really hard to even get out of bed. So, the best thing you can do is actually do that and make your bed, because you can feel accomplished just by making your bed. Making your bed when you have anxiety or depression is a huge thing. It doesn't seem like that to everybody else who doesn't go through these things, but making your bed is a huge thing. If you get out of that bed and you make it, you've achieved something amazing that day, and you can feel satisfied and settled in your mind that you are amazing. You made your bed. Look at you go. So, along with that, I would use music. Music was a huge thing for me. I made a playlist on Spotify, and so did my dad. My dad made one for me as well, and it was just full of happy songs. It was full of songs that you couldn't be sad to. Even silly songs, or songs that make you laugh, or songs that are just completely ridiculous. Think something like The Crazy Frog. I put that in one of my playlists, and my dad, I was listening to his playlist while I was on a walk, and Rasputin came on as I was walking past someone, and I had to try not to smile. The point is that you want to bring yourself some kind of happiness, some kind of serotonin in your body to make yourself feel like you can escape that darkness just for a little while. I would put my playlist on as I was getting ready. I had it on the bathroom counter when I was doing my makeup, and it was just playing through all these songs. I even used Running Up That Hill from Stranger Things 4 because that's what helped Max. And in my brain, and because of that analogy connection that I'd already made, it was something that helped me because it helped her. So there's things that you can relate to other things, like in that analogy, I can relate all of that back to that show. And that helped me a lot. That honestly did. Along with music, there was comfort shows and comfort movies that I like to watch. So putting on a movie or putting on a TV show that you are used to and you have seen before, you know what's happening. You're in control of that in a way. You know what's going to happen at the end of that show or at the end of that movie, and it's not as taxing mentally to be able to watch. But it also, if it's something you enjoy, it also gives you that boost of happy feelings in your mind, because you're doing something that you know you enjoy. You've enjoyed this movie in the past. You can snuggle up in your blanket with a cup of tea and your stuffed animal or your real animal, whatever you have on hand, because my real animals like to abandon me. Thanks, cats. So I have my stuffed teddy. Uh, but yeah, watching those things that you're comfortable with, that you've seen before, you know how it's going to end. And that really, I guess, grounds you and puts you in that safety. It puts you in a safety bubble in a way. For me, it does anyway. So that's something that helped me. Even getting outside was a big thing. So getting fresh air, being outside of that environment where you are kind of isolating yourself was a huge thing. I know those two are really opposing, but it's important to have them both. So you have that safe bubble in your home or in your bed or in your room, wherever you are, but you also have that freedom when you're outside, and that can help you escape. They can both help you escape in opposing ways, I guess. Because when you're outside, you have those other like stimulants around you. So you've got the trees, you've got the air, you've got things that you might see like mushrooms or pretty rocks or animals even. It's things that you can spot outside that help ground you as well, because it's important. It's important to have those outside stimulants too, something that maybe isn't quite in your comfort zone, but things that are beautiful anyway. This might be a little bit of a strange one, and something that I don't think would be really spoken about much. And I'm not sure if this is related to anxiety or if it's something else, but I like the tapping. So I liked when my boyfriend, or now fiance, Mitch, would tap on my arm like to the beat of music. For some reason, that tapping was really helpful because I don't know, it's like my brain stopped in a way. It's like it quietened my brain. I don't really know how to explain that one, But it was something that really helped me, that could help you, even just doing it on yourself, like drumming along to a beat or something like that. Yeah, that was something that really helped me during those stages. For a lot of people, and I haven't really tested this too much, but games can help. The same kind of thing with shows and movies. Play a game that you're comfortable with, that you know the outcome of, because it's less mentally taxing. I mean, you might be slightly the opposite, but when I'm in those anxious stages, I do like things that I'm comfortable with. I didn't really test that theory this time around. I was playing maybe like mindless games, mindless mobile games, and that did help a little bit. Again, I was playing song pop, so it relates back to music, and music does give me that boost in my brain of happiness, that happiness hormone. Uh, so that kind of thing helped me. I would like to try something like Animal Crossing next time I'm feeling really anxious, because I feel like Animal Crossing would be something that I would really benefit from. It's one of those really cozy and warm and comfortable games. So if you're into that kind of thing, then that might help you as well. But again, I didn't really test it with myself. I feel like it would have really helped me, but I didn't actually think about it when I was in those moments. So maybe this will help me in the future. Maybe in the future, anxious Jacqueline will watch this video and think, "Hey, that's a really good idea," and try it out. But I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I do sometime in the future. But I feel like that's something that would also really help. I hope those things maybe help you, or maybe help you think of something that might help you. Maybe even writing lists or something of those steps. So when you feel an anxiety attack coming on, then you can look through those and think, okay, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to try this. Honestly, I tried all of them except for the gaming thing for the most part. I only tried the little mobile games. I was doing all of them every single day for about 2 weeks. And I know it's super hard to eat, but make sure you try and eat, even if it's smoothies. Smoothies were really good for me, because it's like having a cup of tea. Tea is also helpful too if you like warm drinks, tea or hot chocolate, something warm and soothing and cozy. But yeah, so smoothies were really helpful because they were somewhat nutritious. They got some kind of food in me, and I was able to I was able to use that to um, have my first meal of the day. For me, anxiety goes in waves, and the wave comes on a lot in the mornings. The mornings were the absolute worst for me, and then by the evening, it subsided. So in the morning, I would feel absolutely out of control, absolute despair, intrusive thoughts, sick feeling, couldn't get out of bed, the works. And it was horrible. It was honestly horrible. And I felt horrible, and I felt like a burden because Mitch was here at the time as well. And I wanted to be able to break free of that, but I couldn't. My brain couldn't break free of that trap. And I had to talk myself through every single morning, saying, it's okay, I'm going to be okay, reminding myself of those things I am excited about, putting on my music, all those kinds of things, comfort movies, getting outside, going on walks, going on hikes. I did everything I could. And every single day I woke up and I felt the same. And it was horrible. And I just want you to know that you're not alone if you go through that. It can last for a really long time, but you're gonna get through it. I promise you. I promise. You just have to tell yourself and reassure yourself and soothe yourself in a way. I know it can be the opposite for some people. Some people can find it harder at nighttime. For me, yeah, it was the morning. It was really, really difficult in the mornings, and sometimes it would be okay, but then those waves would come along and it would feel worse and worse and worse, and then it would get better, and then it was a roller coaster. Honestly, those couple of weeks were a roller coaster, and I do still feel sometimes those anxiety feelings coming on, and then those intrusive thoughts. But again, I have those steps that I can take that help me through it. I feel like every situation is different, and I have learned a lot about myself this time around. And especially opening up to people, I really found tools that helped me so much more this time, get through it a lot easier and a lot faster. I mean, I'm not saying that it's ever easy. It's not. It never is. But I feel like I managed to, I guess, find that light a lot quicker this time around because of the people around me, because of the support I had. And that's a lot of why I wanted to make this video, because I want you to know that you're not alone and you have support. I mean, even if you're dealing with something and you want to talk about it, feel free to put it in the comments. Or if you're in my Discord, talk about it in my channel called Let It Out. I have a channel where you can just yell into the void about any kind of issues that you have that you maybe don't really know how to say to people around you. You know, you may not always get a reply on those ones in the Discord, but it's just a channel there to let out all of your thoughts, and that can also be healthy as well. You know, anxiety can be super scary, and it may not feel like you're ever going to get out of those stages, but I just want to be here to, I guess, hold your hand in the the closest way possible that I can. I really want to be able to be there for people who are experiencing the same thing that I experience. And I know there's so many of you. I've found people while I've been streaming and talking about this as well. Or even if I haven't been talking about it, they'll come into my stream and talk about the fact that they're dealing with anxiety. And I hope that me talking about it back to them, about my experiences and what I've been through, can help people that go through that. That's pretty much the purpose of why I'm making this specific vlog. Uh, in terms of what's happening in my life at the moment, I feel okay at the moment. I am going through ups and downs, of course, because of course I'm going to. In the past 2 years, the amount that my life has changed has been astronomical, and I have lived the same life for several years in the same house, surrounded by the same things, and all of a sudden, I have this brand new life. I have someone in my life that is completely different, that lives in a completely different country, that came all the way to visit me. And now I'm going there to visit them and their family, and I'm going to be in a completely different environment. It's quite a scary thing, as well as that excitement. Remember at the start of the video how I was talking about the excitement versus the fear. The excitement's always going to be there. And I am very, very excited, but I'm also very, very scared. And I feel like making this video not only helps you, but helps me as well get those thoughts out and get those feelings out. So you know that I'm fearful of something I'm really excited about. And so I know that I have your support, and I know that I'm going to have your support. I know that all you lovely people will always come into my chat and offer me support. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the community around me. I want to be approachable to you. I want to be able to help you through anything that you're going through, and I know that you guys will be the same for me. You guys are there for me as well. So that's my wish. At the end of this video, that's what I hope to achieve. I hope to achieve that, I guess, that relationship between us, between the people that are experiencing these things. If that's something that you're going through, then I just want to be there for you. Honestly, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I think this might be a little bit shorter than my other couple of vlogs, but if you want me to go in depth into anything that I've spoken about today, or you just want to have a little bit more of a chat, then head over to the Discord, like I said before, or come and visit me in my live streams. I'm happy to talk about it at any time. Honestly, I am an open book with this kind of thing. All I really want to do is just help other people that are going through the same thing as me. So I hope that you all have a fantastic rest of your day or night, whatever time zone it is for you, and fare thee well, everyone. Mwah. Bye.